TLC got me laughing, they wildin' out. Drama on tap with a side of pride. New wife alert, let's take that ride.
All right, lads, we're going to meet a load of new families, so we're just going to dive straight in, right? So we're going to meet Jeff Aldridge, his family. Now, he's the father and the husband. He has two wives. Vanessa is the first wife, and Charisse is the second wife. Now, I'm looking at this guy and I'm thinking, man, he did very well to get one. Like, even to get one wife, this guy did well. But he's not happy, right? He has two, and he's still not happy because he wants another fucking wife. But we do see a wedding photograph of these people, and I thought this is very unfortunate. It's exactly the way I want a polygamy wedding photograph to look. So we're finding out more about this family as they're having breakfast, but they're also having a kind of a confessional. And then I find out that Jeff was 44 years old when he married Vanessa, old enough to be her father. And she's saying, yeah, he is old as fuck, but you know what? He's very youthful. Now I'm looking at Jeff, right, and I'm thinking, I would not use youthful to describe this guy. Do you know, he'd remind you of Uncle Stepdaddy, Granddaddy Paul. Like he's about as youthful as that, you know? So we find out about Vanessa and her children. So she has Dane, who's aged 8. She has Zara, who's 6. She has Sebastian, who's 1. And these two have another baby on the way. So, you know, in the Brown family, the way they call the mothers just by their first names, in this family, they call the other mother aunt, right, when they're referring to them. Now, Vanessa didn't grow up in polygamy, but according to her, when she was about 18 years of age, she just thought it'd be a great idea to share this old man's dick. So now we're finding out about Charisse. Now, Charisse has 4 kids. Daniel is 6. And then she tells us about Dalinar. I thought that's not even a name. Anyway, that poor kid with the unfortunate name is 4. So then we see Misty. Again, not a name. That's a type of weather. But Misty is 2. And then we meet the baby. So the baby in this family is Serenity. I thought these poor kids, like awful names. Also, I think Serenity is probably going to be a scientist or something like that when she grows up. I just got that impression. So this is how Charisse and Jeff met. Ooh, buckle up, lads. So he was working in some kind of a summer camp, and she was helping him in the kitchen. She was 18 years old. Holy mother of God. Anyway, she grew up in polygamy and she always wanted to be a polygamist. She has 2 mothers. Now, she says that she fell in love with Jeff because he's a great family man. I tell you, he's old enough to be your father. Fucking hell. These women do better. Think highly of yourself. So anyway, they have dated a lot of people, but it just hasn't worked out. I'm looking at Jeff and I thought, I wonder why. So recently they have met a woman called Melina. Now they met her online and she's like a potential new wife. Now Charisse really does like this woman. I think Charisse is kind of the Mary Jelaine Maxwell of this family. So now we're on to our second family. Now they're called the Snowdens and they live in Georgia. Now as we're meeting these people, they're in the park with their kids, but they're also getting a confessional. Now, the Snowdens are not religious people, okay? The husband just wants to bang. So his name is Dimitri and the wife's name is Ashley. They have 2 kids, and this woman is pregnant, right? She has a baby on the way. They've been married for 8 years, and we meet their kids, right? So Ninu is 5 years old, and Neo is 2 years old. Now, Dimitri tells us that he always wanted more wives. I thought that's grand, Dimitri, but why? He's not a Mormon, do you know what I mean? That's not part of his religion. I think he just talked Ashley into doing this. Now, Ashley is considering another wife because she's pregnant with baby number 3. I thought this woman just needs a hand, she needs a babysitter. But according to them, they did try polygamy before. Like they had the sister wife move in, but the sister wife that moved in, she had kids, right? And it didn't work out. I thought I'm not surprised. Ashley doesn't want to be looking after somebody else's kids. She has enough on her plate. Anyway, that all happened about a year ago, so they're ready to try and do it all over again. Do you know, I think that Ashley is just looking for a babysitter. She knows, right? She knows that this guy just wants to fuck everybody. And she's thinking, all right then, he's gonna cheat anyway. I'm gonna let him do it, but I want to get something out of it. I guarantee that's what she's thinking. So apparently the relationship that they were in with the wife with the kids, it didn't work out because Ashley didn't really like this woman. I'm not surprised, I'm not surprised, but they want to find a new wife before Ashley has this baby. I'm telling you, this woman just wants a fucking babysitter and somebody that Dimitri can bang, but will help her out as well. And then we meet the Briney family, who I keep calling the Brinleys. Now, Drew is the father. Now, he has three wives. So, the first wife is April. She's definitely given me first wife energy. Now, these have been married for 20 years, and she seems like an absolute and utter bitch. I'm not surprised, though, okay? I'm not. Because they were married for 8 years. And then Drew says to her, April, I was reading the Bible, or whatever this day read, right? I was reading the Bible, and you know what it says? It says that I should go and get another wife. They're 8 years into their marriage. So she just kind of like has to go along with it. So the second wife is Aura Lee, and they've been married for 12 years. Now, Aura Lee does have a pretty noticeable speech impediment. Anyway, they got another wife, okay? So the other wife is named Angela. They've only been married for about a year. Drew was an attorney, by the way. Now, all this family are going to live in the very same house for the very first time, and there's 15 kids in this family. Now, April and Drew have 8 kids together, but two of them have already moved out, but they're only 19 and 17 years old. I tell, where the hell are they? Can we get an Amber Alert or something? Where are these kids? Anyway, their 6 kids are still living at home. Now, there's a lot of made up names in this family that I'm probably not going to remember, but I'll just read them out to you, okay? They have a Jasher. I thought, what? Again, not a name, okay? It sounds like one of the reindeers, Here's Prancer, here's Jasher. It sounds like something like that. Also have a Jacob Royal. I love that. I love that there's two names. Brielle, Joycelyn, Erica, and then they have a Kellyona or something. Very feckin' unfortunate. Now, do you know what? I'm gonna say, as somebody who comes from people that have names that are quite difficult to pronounce and spell, like if you don't speak Irish, I feel that I'm justified in ripping other names apart. That's just the bonus of it. Anyway, I find out that all of these kids are homeschooled, and I thought, oof, I hope not by Lee. But a silver lining, right? Because at least they won't get bullied, You have to have a silver lining. So Drew wanted to live polygamy. So then basically April just had to get on board. Now I know that she hates the other sister wives. I know that she does. So we're in the kitchen of the new house. So we're finding out about Aurelie, who has the speech impediment, right? Now, she generally tells people that she's Dutch because they'll think that she has an accent. I thought, no, they won't. They're just going to think that you have a lisp. That's exactly what it sounds like. So she was going out with Drew, and these two got married. Now, according to her, right, it was April who really wanted the marriage. I thought that's an absolute another lie. Like that's a complete another lie. So Drew and Aurelie have 6 kids together. Do you know what she called these kids? Lorelei. I tell you, you can't even fucking pronounce it. But she called the others Josiah, Benjamin, Noah, Aveliah, and Malachi, but they pronounce it Malachi. But it doesn't matter because you can hardly pronounce any of these kids' names. And then we find out that April and Arley basically hate each other. And when they first married, okay, they did all live together for about a year and a half. But April was too aggressive and too bossy. I tell fucking hell straight out the gate like they're just telling us. Anyway, I believe that Drew was terrified of April, and he's telling us that there was communication problems with the first two wives. I'm not surprised, because the first wife didn't want the second wife, and the second wife has a speech impediment. No wonder there's fucking communication problems. Anyway, Aurelie was just tired of April, okay? And April wanted the new wife. Basically, all of this conversation is going on in the kitchen. The whole conversation is going on in the kitchen. Real passive aggressive kind of stuff, right? Now we're finding out about Angela. She's the third wife. So she had to get on board with April, who's the first wife, and these met at a party. So April tells us that she did like Angela because she's not like Aurelie. But when Angela met and married Drew, it all happened within 13 fucking days. Now, according to them, the reason it happened so quickly was because she was 40 and she wanted to have a baby. And she did have a baby, and you know what she called him? Fucking hell. So this poor kid's name is Leonardo Vincenzo. So look, I'm happy for the woman. She got her Leonardo DiCaprio. No, she got her baby. Now April is telling us that she tolerates Angela. So these are having a conversation about the dinner. Oh, do you know what? Oh man. Anyway, Arale is saying things like, "It's a great idea to have dinner together as a family. And when did we have dinner as a family? Oh, when would you like to feed your own children?" I do you know what? If she's saying it on the telly, I just repeat it, okay? I just tell you what the woman said. And that's exactly what she said. Anyway, after Drew and Angela got together, like the other two wives hated each other, so they weren't living in the same house. And Drew was like, "Well, I can't afford a fucking third house, so we're all going to have to live together." The house is lovely. It's a three-story house, right? And these are all going to live together. So Aurelie and Angela are telling us they're telling us about getting a new wife, and they're basically saying it's kind of like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. And April is saying, "Nah, it's not really like that." I thought Jeepers telling us more. So in their new house, they're showing us around and they're telling us where everybody is going to be. Now, I'm listening to April and I'm thinking, This woman is a fucking psychopath. It's because of the baby voice. Recently, I have been watching Ed Gein, and every time he says, "Mother!" that when anybody is talking in a high pitched or a baby voice, that's what I'm thinking of, okay? So I'm thinking April, yeah, bit of a psycho, bit of a psycho. Also, all of these people, these 17 people, are now going to live in one big house, which I assume is going to be an absolute and utter shit show, and I am ready for it. Anyway, they're the families in Seek and Sister Wife. I hope you're all having a great day. I will catch you in the next one, and remember, I love you long time.